Thanks everyone for coming. First of all, I just want to thank Bell Potter and any existing shareholders in the room for your support. Obviously, we were thrilled with the IPO results, and we're thrilled with the support that we've been receiving from our investors post the IPO. So, without sort of trying to find a balance between people who've heard this story before and those that haven't, but as Grant said, we're an Australian corporate bookmaker. We launched in the advanced Australian market. We did so on the back of some key strategic points. One of being in-house technology, which I'll talk a bit about. The other one being to establish a very experienced team here in the Australian business, a group that's worked through the transformational period of sports betting in Australia. And if anyone's lived in Australia for the last 12 years, you know how the sector has grown. Been a lot of experience and a lot of lessons learned in the Australian business, and our team has absorbed those lessons, is now taking those lessons and learnings to this new US market and having success in doing so. As Grant said, we did take our first bet in 2017. In real terms though, we only launched in March 2018. That's when we launched fixed odds sports betting. So we're literally talking 18 months ago that PointsBet got real, and the progress that we've made in the short time since has been very strong, and I'll talk to that progress. Big part of that, as I said, is our team and our technology, and I'll touch on that, and I'll finish on the progress that we're making in the US and giving some colour to just how big that opportunity is. Our client model is pretty self-explanatory, but even doing the rounds, talking to investors, this is the area that needs to be focused on, and rightfully so, which is what does it cost you to acquire a client? How good are you at retaining clients? How do you do that? What differentiates a bookmaker in their ability to acquire clients and retain clients and make sure that you're getting value for money? And there's no single silver bullet. It comes down to great user experience, great CRM, great client service, great promotions, great odds. But that's all driven by a great team and great technology behind it. And we'll talk to our Australian experience and the results that we've achieved in Australia. And you can only achieve those results that we're achieving in Australia if you're getting this equation right. And it's that equation and the experience of knowing how to take a business from startup and get it to a profitable stage that we're taking to America and applying that same discipline in the American market. Our team. I've been quite open about the fact that I truly do believe we've got a world-class team. We've built the team over a period of time, starting with myself and a couple of the co-founders, and to our more recent appointments. We are one team across Australia and the US. This is one of the things that differentiates us from our competitors. Groups like William Hill and the Stars Group, they're big global companies, but they really are not one global company. They have a business in Australia or the US or Sweden or the UK, and they're on different technology run by different teams in different jurisdictions. Part of our strategy was to have one team and to leverage those resources and get economies of scale. The most recent executive to join the team is Manjit Singh, who's our President of Product and Technology. Manjit was previously CDO of Aristocrat, and if you talk to the team there, was instrumental in the success of Aristocrat. And we've already had a fantastic foundation of a tech team. We couldn't have achieved what we've achieved with what was with limited resources at the time without having fantastic people in that team. But having someone like Manjit come in is very, very rare in that he has deep experience from a commercial aspect. He's obviously worked for a large company like Aristocrat and the like, but he's also very detailed. He understands architecture, he understands code, he understands all the latest trends in its security. He's very, very rare in this space, so we're thrilled that Manjit's come on board, and I see him as in some ways the cherry on top to really confirm our strategy as we go into more states of America. This is our just a slide talking about our technology platform. So we are completely in-house. Now, to talk about how rare that is, in the New Jersey market, which is effectively the new US sports betting market, there's out of 16 or 17 bookmakers, there's only 2 that control their tech stack from front to back. There's us and Bet365, who literally entered the market about a month ago. You can't underestimate how important this is going to be, and I'll talk more about the American market and how it's not just one large market. It's made up of individual states, and each individual state is its own market. It's geo-fenced effectively. If you're standing in New Jersey, you can have a bet in New Jersey. You walk over or go through the tunnel over to Manhattan, you can no longer place a bet because New York hasn't legalized sports betting. Each state has its own rules. Each state has its own favorite teams. So in some states, when you're looking at the app, you want to be displaying the local college teams that are playing tomorrow. In other states, you want the local Jets team or whoever it may well be. From a back-end perspective, integrating with the various regulators in each state and the reporting systems. The nuances required to conquer the US market is going to be very, very challenging for those companies that don't control their tech stack and don't control their destiny. It's not just from a releasing of bells and whistles and product, but it's navigating the nuances of each state and the demands of each state. And most of our competitors in the US are using third-party platforms. There's one third-party platform provider who has 4 or 5 clients, and 4 or 5 clients going into 10, 15, 20 states. That's a very complex ask, and talking to a lot of them, they're already experiencing some of the pain points that come with trying to do that. Our platform is by no means a finished product. We got through Melbourne Cup Day last year when a lot of competitors didn't. We processed 145,000 bets without any incident. Part of what owning your own technology allows you to do, it allows you to do things more efficiently too. Out of those 145,000 plus bets, less than 1% actually went to a trader or a risk manager to make a decision on, because we've built rules and smarts into the platform to allow us to deal with those bets automatically. So from a user experience, a client places a bet, let's say a big betting client, he places a $10,000 bet. Most bookmakers are going to intercept that bet. They're going to look at it. They're going to make a decision about it. If that bet is according to that client's habits and it ticks off all of our measures, that'll get automatically accepted in split seconds and be a fantastic user experience for that client. That cannot be underestimated. We see ourselves first as a technology company, second as a marketing company, and third as a risk management sort of trading company. Technology and product will win this race in the long term, and bookmakers that don't control that, they're running without a leg. So we released our results recently. On the left-hand side is our year-on-year, some key statistics there about our growth. I think the highlights of these 6 points would be our presence in New Jersey, the fact that we launched in New Jersey effectively in January this year. No one had heard of PointsBet. Absolutely fine. Barely anyone in Australia had heard of PointsBet either. But the opportunity in the American market was no one's heard of William Hill, no one's heard of Ladbrokes, no one's heard of Bet365. Yes, they've heard of MGM or Caesars, etc. But no one had heard of a specialist sportsbook company. So an opportunity was there to come in and own that space, to be seen as excellence in sports betting. So even though we were an early stage company and rather small compared to some of our competitors, the end consumer in New Jersey doesn't know that. What we put to market, even though we thought it was a minimum viable product in January, was market leading in terms of the user experience. What we went to market with from a promotions, PR, CRM perspective was market leading, and it's allowed us, without spending the amount of money that our competitors have been spending on marketing, to get to a 5.4% market share 5 months later in June. And keeping in mind, we launched in New Jersey in January. A lot of our competitors had launched in August, September. A lot of our competitors had databases that they started with. We started with 0. So if we can get 5.4% market share in New Jersey, starting later behind everyone else, where the fantasy companies who are our biggest competitors are strongest on the East Coast, using the smarts that we've acquired in the Australian business, it really bodes well for our ability to win market share in any state that we enter into. This is a slide I like to show. I talked about the importance of marketing. Our ability to get a result in Australia and the States of America comes down to understanding the relationship between what you pay for a client and what they generate in lifetime value. And if you don't understand that, you can certainly have businesses that grow the top line and look impressive, but they'll never get to that point of making money. Effectively, you can see what we've done in marketing, and some stats from the last few years. We spent $6 million a couple of years ago in 17-18 on marketing and had $9 million of revenue. This is Australia I'm talking about. We spent $17 million in 18-19, which is 17 million out of that 24.9 that you see there, which includes America as well. And we had 29 million of net win in Australia. This year we'll spend about the same, about 17 million again, and I'll show you some year-to-date numbers from a revenue perspective for this year, and you can certainly see how the Australian business is well on the way to achieving that break-even point in probably the most advanced market in the world, where taxes are very high, product fees are very high. So if we can do that in Australia, where we've effectively launched in March last year within a 2 or 3 year period, that demonstrates that we understand the relationship of paying the right amount of money for a client and recognising what they're worth and ensuring you hold on to those clients and get the most out of them. And you can see there's a direct correlation there between what we spend on marketing and the increase in our clients on our database. So this is the slide I was talking about. So talking about Australia in particular on the left-hand side, last year we spent about $17 million on marketing, and we generated 28.9 million in net win. This year we'll spend about the same. You can see that up until the 27th of August there, we're up to 7.9 million in net win after 7 or 8 weeks in terms of the run rate for this financial year. Now that's a strong start to the year, no doubt. The net win margin was 8.4%. The net win margin last year was 5.9. Just to explain that a little bit, as we're improving our products, so when we started the year, we didn't have things like odds boost or cash out, which are very important bells and whistles for the average punter. So you have to be more generous with your generosities. You have to give away more, be stronger with free bets and promotions, etc. But as your product suite improves, as your whole offer improves, you can pull off those a little bit, and then your net win margin is going to increase. Now, we might not maintain 8.4% net win margins for the year, but I think we're very confident that we'll trend higher than 5.9. But yeah, I think you can see clearly there that there's a path towards the Australian business washing its face. The number's not here, but the Australian trading arm lost 10.2 million last year. So it lost 10.2 million off 28.9 of net win. We started the year with 7.9 after 7 weeks. Off the back of the same marketing spend we're planning, we expect and hope that we're on our way for Australia to be reaching that point of profitability inside that 2 to 3 year target that we set. Okay, so I want to move to America. The strategy when we started the business was with one eye on America. America hadn't legalised sports betting. As someone who's been in the industry a long time, and when you're starting a new venture, you're looking for where is the next opportunity. This was very clearly an opportunity for us. American sports are huge in Australia. NBA basketball is bigger betting sport than AFL and rugby league. NRL's big, hockey's big, baseball's big. So when we started the business, we could see that as a business starting in Australia, if we focused on US sports, it would hold us in a really strong position for when America opened up. We weren't sure exactly when America would find a route to legal sports betting, but we were very confident it would. And the reason for that is that people in America are betting on sports. They're just doing it with the black market. They're betting on an app. Someone sitting in Wall Street where sports betting isn't legal yet, they're betting on an app. What they don't realise is that app is with a bookmaker in Costa Rica or Eastern Europe or the like. So not having sports betting legalised really achieved nothing. The government's not collecting any taxes. There's no jobs being created, etc. So there was a law repealed in May last year. So think about the timing of that. We effectively completed our fixed odds sports betting product in March. 2 months later, the market, each state is now free to decide whether it wants to open sports betting. And so we've made quick ground. In July last year, we had no staff, no bank accounts, no offices, no presence in America, and no one had heard of PointsBet. Now we've made that market share in New Jersey, as I said. We've got market access points to another 10 states. So these are 10 states that are either legal or we see as having a high degree of confidence that they're going to legalise sports betting in the short to medium term. Those states alone, something like 81 million people population, and it's estimated to represent about 4.6 billion in net win or gross win actually of sports betting. So, if we can get that sort of a 10% market share even, I think we'd be doing ourselves a disservice of not aiming for 10% of any market that we go into. You can see the opportunity. The whole US market, if all 50 states legalised, is estimated at over $17 billion revenue per annum. So we're talking about access to states that at the moment have access to 4.6 billion revenue per annum. The market is expected to be 5 billion by 2023. So there's a clear line of sight to that. There's a number that's not a date that's not too far away. 5 billion in 2023. How much of that can PointsBet get? You know, can it get 7.5%, 10%, 12.5%? That's the opportunity. And New Jersey was our shop front. It was our opportunity to show Americans what we were capable of. Australia was the first shop front, and New Jersey was the second shop front. And our ability to do well in that state and to show what we were capable of has meant that we've been able to get access to these other states. I'll just make a point that I haven't covered yet, just to make it clear. A bookmaker can't just walk into a state of America and apply for a license. The licenses sit with land-based casinos and racetracks. Most of those land-based casinos and racetracks don't have the capability to run a sports betting business, and they're prepared to effectively license it out to a third party such as us. But the way those deals work is generally we're giving them a clip of the ticket. So they want to give their license over to a sports bookmaker that they believe is going to have success in their state, because then that clip of the ticket's going to add up to something material and tangible. So they're choosing, all of these parties have chosen us because they believe PointsBet is a market leader in sports betting and is going to have a material market share in the US sports betting space. So there's a graph that just spoke about the progress we've made in New Jersey. It's worth pointing out that we're just coming out now of the quiet season effectively for US sports betting. So from April to August each year, it's about 28% of the market based on Nevada's experience. So 28% of sports betting revenue is generated through those 5 months. 72% is generated from September to March. So we're now just getting into the exciting part of the season to see what that means in terms of client behaviour, turnover, revenue, etc., acquisition. We're already seeing acquisition increase materially from what we were seeing through those quieter months. College football, NFL's just come in. NFL is huge. If you go to a bar in the States when there's an NFL game going on, everyone's glued to it. They're 3 deep. Sports betting, some Americans get a bit offended when I tell them that Australians love to bet on sports and that they probably won't reach the same levels that we reach. Most of them disagree with me, and if that does prove to be correct, then that $17 billion market estimate is way unders. It's based on a far more conservative equation than if Americans bet on sports to the same degree that we do. We also run physical sports books in America. So we are online in Australia, we're online in New Jersey, but when we partner with some of these racetracks or casinos, in some instances we also run the retail outlet. So just effectively like a TAB or a sports bar effectively. So this is the first one we opened at our casino partner in Iowa, Catfish Bend Casino. These property owners take great pride in their properties. It's their casinos or their racetracks, and they've worked hard and invested a lot of capital in them over the years. So they want to see us care about the retail operations as well, even though we expect 85 to 95% of revenue to be online in each state that enables online betting. It was important for us to do a good job here, because then in other deals, other state access points, we had other potential partners and existing partners fly to Iowa to check out this facility to see the job that we've done in partnership with our partner there. And generally speaking, the costs are shared, but we've had a great response to producing a venue that the company can be, or the physical outlet can be proud of. We've done an amazing job with our marketing and branding and PR in the States. This is another example of the synergies that we can get. So not only do we get synergies from a technology perspective, that we're running on one platform in Australia and America. We're not running 4 or 5 different platforms. We're not betting on the Super Bowl 4 or 5 different times like our big global competitors are. We're on one platform for all the states that we go into. We'll get the synergies. It's one trading team. When we first bet on the Super Bowl this year, we were already betting on it from Australia. We used to have a midnight trading shift in Australia that ran from a graveyard shift, we call it, from midnight to 8 a.m. And it was always a hard shift to find quality traders and risk managers to work. Well, we don't need to now, because that shift's covered by America. So unlike at this point, this recurring theme, I'm saying technology, operations, marketing, we're getting economies of scales, we're getting synergy. So Alan Iverson is our brand ambassador in the States, but he's our brand ambassador in Australia as well. Now, I'm not a huge NBA fan myself, but even I'd heard of Allen Iverson. And I can tell you the amount of people that come up to me here in Australia, and when they hear I work for PointsBet, they say Allen Iverson. First thing that comes to their mind. The ads, we've just recorded a new TVC, which we filmed in North Carolina, which is where Allen lives. We sent Brett Finch over there from Fox Sports up here, rugby league legend. Finchy went over there, got to know Allen. They got on really well. We recorded that TVC over there. We're using it here in Australia. There's 2 versions of this. And we use the same TVC in the States because Australians are mad about US sports. And we are known, our brand is known here in Australia as being, PointsBet, the Australian corporate bookmaker, but also we have an American element to our business, not just because we have a presence over there, but because we specialise in American sports. We aim to have more bet types on NFL, NBA, hockey, etc. than any other bookmaker in the world. We want to be known for American sports. That's the growing area, and it serves us well for both Australia and the US. But just another example of the synergies we get by operating businesses where the sports betting clients are reasonably similar in terms of the sports that they like. We've even got some Americans betting on AFL and rugby over there. That's it.